Imagine if that head trash was not there. Who would you be? What if I told you those fears were no longer a problem? What would you do? I'm Stephanie Costello, a mom of 3, wife, and avid mountaineer. Beyond all of these, I am, very much like you, an average person trying to navigate this thing we call life. My goal with this podcast is to bring to light the truth about what intimacy really is. You may smile, feel called out, or learn something new. Either way, you will learn you are in control. This episode is brought to you by Safety in Freedom. Are you struggling to find safety in the freedom you create? Or maybe you're struggling to own your power, embrace who you are, and break free from those toxic patterns? Well, let's help you solve this problem today. Let's figure out what is really happening in your relationships with yourself and others. You can do that for free today at safetyinfreedom.com/call. That is safetyinfreedom.com/call. In addition, if you are looking for support with what we've been talking about in today's episode, I want to encourage you to get our free tools to help you navigate your freedom. You can go now to safetyinfreedom.com to get those resources. If you'd like access to the special resources and all the show notes for this special episode, make sure to visit theintimacykruths.com. Today, I have the pleasure of introducing to you Will Dinsmore, who has lived in New Hampshire his entire life. He has been working in the construction industry since before he graduated high school. He comes from a huge family of tradesmen. When he says huge, he means 13 siblings and 2 crazy parents. He grew up building and repairing, including their own home after it burnt down when he was only in the 8th grade. Needless to say, this is in his blood. After working for a few contractors through the years, doing remodeling and landscape design, he decided it was time to venture out on his own. He started as a general contractor with Willie's Work LLC and ended up hiring some of his brothers and partnering with his father, Dana Dinsmore. After years of that, he decided it would be a great idea to change the name to New Hampshire Home Inspector LLC and jump into the home inspection business and put their craftsman skills to the test. He will tell you, when you spend your lifetime repairing and building old homes, there is nothing that gets past you anymore. He knows how to look at a building and see what it needs without having to dismantle it. He can't stress enough, don't hire someone to do a home inspection if they have never been part of the building process of a house. There are many things you can learn in a classroom, but there's nothing like good old-fashioned hands-on experience. All right. Welcome to the Intimacy Truth Podcast, where we have William Dinsmore here to talk to us about the honey-do list. Thank you for being here, William.
Thanks, Steph. Nice to be here.
Yes, you're so welcome. I'm so excited to talk to you about how your job and intimacy and relationship work go sort of hand in hand, but you wouldn't think that as a home inspector.
Yeah, so as a home inspector, you kind of get the first look, especially when there's a couple that's purchasing a house. You can see as you walk through this house with them, the kind of intricacies of their relationship. Maybe the wife will say, you can fix this, honey. And the honey, the husband kind of shakes his head and goes, oh no, here we go. Or maybe even the other way around. He says, I can fix that. And she rolls her eyes and says, oh no, here we go. They could possibly be getting themselves into a mess and add some stress to their relationship.
Absolutely. Disconnects in the communication can happen there, because when they both have their own expectations and they didn't quite sit down and nail down what each other understands about those expectations, there can be a lot of disconnects. And when they are first-time home buyers, and they're going through a home and they have these ideas of what they want. I can even say for myself, our living room is dark and gloomy and I hate it. I want all of the woodwork to be white, and my husband's like, no, dark and gloomy. So I'm like, okay, well, we need to find a middle ground here, because I hate our living room, feel depressed when I'm in it, and you feel completely happy, and that's not fair.
That's right. So you just got to give him a a dark and gloomy room where he can go hang out.
Exactly. You can take all of your dark and gloomy and your history war stuff, be in
Yep.
one corner of the house, and then his thing is no circus colors, because I love bright and random colors, and he's like, no. One time I painted our living room. It looked like it was going to be this faint peach, but it was like bright peach and orangey, like my husband's.
Oh, wow. Well, the good thing about paint colors is that they can always be changed with relative ease.
Mm,
It's the rest of the house, the meat and potatoes, the basement,
yeah,
the foundation. Those are the things you need to be concerned with. So long as
absolutely.
things are installed properly, then the rest of it comes together eventually.
Especially like the basement you're in currently, the fieldstone, that drives me bonkers.
Yeah. Yeah. So old fieldstone foundations like this, so long as they're upkept and the right maintenance is done, it can last a long, long time, even forever. But if you let it crumble through time and don't give it the proper attention, then most likely your house will fall down.
Mm,
So same as your relationship, if you don't put the right kind of foundation below it and even maintain that foundation,
mm.
and eventually your relationship could fall apart just as quick.
I love that. And so for me, foundation relationship, right, means sitting down and having regular conversations, trying to understand the pictures and the beliefs of each other. So if my picture of a fieldstone basement is, oh, I hate it, and your picture of a fieldstone basement or my husband's is like, oh, I love it, then we got to figure out how do we maintain that foundation so that we're not falling apart over time. And so what does that look like on your end?
Exactly. And what that looks like from the actual maintenance part of it
Yeah.
is just somewhat tedious work. Maybe you need to get a professional to come in and help with that maintenance, someone like a therapist to help put those things together, or a masonry contractor to help do it
Okay.
for you. Because if you try to do it all yourself, sometimes you don't do it right and it's still falling apart.
Yeah. So tell us some minor honey-do list items that often fall on the honey-do list that could turn into bigger problems.
So minor things would be countertops in the kitchen, maybe some updating in the kitchen,
Mm,
um, roof repairs. Some
okay.
people tend to think that they can do small roof repairs, even though it's quite dangerous to do so. A lot siding repairs, window repairs. For the most part, an exterior of a house is always in need of maintenance. So those usually end up being on the honey-do list. The paint this side of the house, maybe even replace the siding on this part of the house.
Mm,
And all of that adds to the workload and time of a person in a relationship and inside that house.
absolutely. And in the relationship, right? Because when there's the kids running around and the cleaning of the home and the toys and the laundry and the dishes and the trash and the wood stoves, if you have wood stoves like we do, right, there's all of the making sure that the chimney guy comes and the septic guy comes and the oil people come, and they do the, what is it, the yearly maintenance on the furnace. There's all of
Yep.
these things that go into running a home in a cohesive manner, and when you start to add more stuff onto that, then you're taking away time from your communication, time from spending with your family, time from spending with your partner. Then you're pissed off because you haven't spent time with your partner because they've been doing all of your honey-do list stuff, right?
Right.
We can pile stuff on, and it's partially society too. We expect so much of our partners and ourselves to be able to achieve in a 24-hour period. It's next to near impossible.
It is, and it starts from the beginning. If you're gonna buy a house together, then you need to understand each other from the beginning before that even happens, so that you know what can honey handle and what
Yeah.
can't honey handle,
Yeah.
and what should we be hiring people for, and what should we plan on. So long as things are properly planned for, then it should not add that stress to your relationship. But if you don't do that planning, you're guaranteed to be throwing some stress your way and running out of time to do things, which is
Right.
fun.
So let's add on to that. Other than the foundation of the home, what are some other meat and potatoes in the basement that could be like, hey, honey, you can do this. but that will create what might be the bigger challenges that happen later on down the road if they don't take care of the things someone such as yourself will tell them.
Right. So you've got in the basement, this is where all your water comes into the house. So all the
Yeah.
plumbing, this is where most of it you can see. So if the plumbing is leaking in areas, or if it's old and damaged or sagging, these can cause issues that can get worse over time. So those end up being on the honey-do list too sometimes, because it's leaking right now. You should fix it. I luckily don't see any leaks in this basement right now. But there is some old plumbing which is going to eventually wear out to the point where it does leak. And sometimes these leaks can turn into massive floods. Kind of like negative emotions. If you fill your house, fill your relationship with these negative emotions, then it can cause things to be a real mess. Electricity, that's where all your electricity comes into the house. Same
So if
thing
you
with
have a massive
electricity.
flood.
Yeah, flooded water and electricity don't mix very well.
No.
But the same thing with your electricity. The energy of your house is all coming through in this basement. And if the wiring is old, then chances are you're gonna have a short or a fault down the road. And even a small short or a fault in a poorly run wire can cause the entire house to burn down. So you want to make sure that the wiring and the electricity is running and flowing properly through the house.
Yes. And so on my end, what that looks like is if you have some sort of medical issue or mental health challenge that you're dealing with on a daily basis, taking care of them is very important. Here's the thing, we all have problems. Every house is going to have some sort of issue that's going to need to be taken care of. Our brains all have some sort of challenge that it's navigating because of how we were raised or how the house was built, right? The foundation of the house was built and it's gonna have its issues, however they chose to build it, no matter how new or old the home is. Same thing with a person, no matter how young or old you are, you have some sort of foundation that was given to you. And so, for example, I have PTSD, right? I can't change my brain. My brain will probably always be having PTSD and reacting in a way that is from the symptoms of PTSD, which is where we have a diagnostic statistical manual. I think it's on 5 or 6 now. That's the book that clinicians will diagnose you from, right? So some disagree with it, some don't. My point is, we have a foundation. I now have a foundation. Oh, when I have this feeling, I'm reacting this way, and I'm either overreacting or underreacting to this situation, and I need to adjust accordingly based on my own choices, not what my my subconscious mind is telling me to do. And so for you, when it comes to the work that you do, if you're telling people what to do and how to do it, where do you go from there?
So when I tell somebody what they should fix and what to do, I immediately point them in the direction of a professional. In my experience, unprofessional repairs can lead to larger problems. So it's always best to send them in the direction of someone that knows and has experience with the issues that we're talking about.
Yes, I love it.
Electrician, licensed, plumber,
Yeah.
licensed, even just an experienced contractor that has dealt with the issues before is going to be a huge help.
Absolutely. This has been such an awesome conversation. I love how we were able to make this so cohesive and this is going to be so visual for so many people. Listeners, if you have any questions, go ahead. What'd you say?
No, I was saying I hope so.
Yes. Listeners, if you have any questions, William, where can they find you?
So they can find me at NH Home Inspector LLC. Website's www.nhomeinspector.biz, B-I-Z.
Yeah.
Also, they can find me on Instagram, YouTube, or TikTok at The Home Detective is my alter ego.
Yeah, I love it. And check out William's YouTube channel where he kind of does like an HGTV and gives you all these good tips and tricks and understanding your home and the right professional and where to find the help to get your home fixed properly.
That's right.
Thank you for being here, Will. You're welcome.
No problem. Thank you.